Hey guys, what's going on? Jed Scott here, and today we're going to work on a carburetor. And I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how to get your carburetor set up just right, especially if you're getting ready for a first fire on a fresh engine and getting a cam broke in. So let's show you what we can do. So of course, typically when you break in a cam, it's best to use a known carburetor, a carburetor you know that is good. And you can either pick between really a Holley or a Carburetor, and there's quadrajets and thermal quads. It's all dependent upon what your application is. My opinion, Carter, Edelbrock, more of a stock build. You got a bigger cam and you want to go faster, Holley. Just my opinion on matters. I like Holleys more, as you can see, and like I said, all depending on your application. And if you're really serious, why not fuel injection? But it's all dependent upon what your build is. For our little 273, we got a little more carburetor than we really need, but we got a 650 double pumper underneath this direct connection air cleaner. Let me try and get that off there. A little much of a carburetor. I prefer like about 500 CFM, maybe 600. But the D-Darts used a 750 vacuum sec. So I'm thinking a 650 double pumper, more than adequate for what we're doing. So let's move this thing over to the bench. So the first thing is you gotta have good tunes. But YouTube won't let us play good tunes, so you guys have to settle for some generic stuff that I've picked out for you. I hope you like it. So first things first, I typically rebuild my carburetors inside the house. It's clean, it's mostly a sterile environment, and you're comfortable. But today we're gonna rebuild it out here on the bench because it's a beautiful day minus the wind. But what I like to do is you can rebuild your, say your Holley on your table like this, but the issue is your linkage right here hangs down too far. So one thing I've learned to do is I have a whole bunch of carburetor spacers, and this is a Dominator to 4150. And I just like to set my carburetor on it, and I'll typically run a couple bolts through there, and it keeps it spaced up and something you can work on. Of course, you're gonna have to remove, don't do that. You're gonna have to remove your base plate screws. That's about one of the first things I do. And now we're going to show you some of the tools I like to use. At least the main tools you're going to need to do your Holley. A crescent wrench for your power valves. You can also find the correct size wrench. I think it's about 1 inch or 7/8. You're going to need a decent Phillips head screwdriver. A flathead screwdriver. Oh, and this carburetor's got hex head bolts on the back. I am going to be eliminating those because I like the flathead screwdriver bolts better than these hex heads, just preference. I got a pick here for picking out gaskets, and we got a cute little screwdriver just for shits and giggles. The other thing is you're going to need a piece of wire to run through all these air bleeds. These have got to be clean. And we're also going to be using some brake cleaner with a little red nozzle on there to help blow them out. And then once we get everything all apart, we're going to take compressed air from the air compressor and blow the crap out of every orifice, because the last thing you want is those air bleeds clogged up, because it'll instantly make you think, what I do wrong? When in reality, if these things are clogged up, you're going to have a million issues and you're never going to be able to figure it out unless you know about how important these air bleeds are. So we're going to set you up and we're going to start working on this puppy. Hi everybody. I'm going to see if this works out. This camera angle, if not, I'm gonna be really sad. You might hear me cry like a little girl. Or for any of you people out there who are super sensitive, you might hear me cry like a me. Because some people are super sensitive about that kind of stuff. Alright, don't mind the wind noise. First things first. We are going to get this base plate off. Well, actually, first things first, we're going to move these accelerator pumps. It'll make it a lot easier. So it's pretty simple. You just take the 8 screws out on a double pumper. And we need a little cup. I know, we got this little deal right here with our air breathers we've been working on. We'll just put them all in there. Organization is key for any kind of engine rebuild or carburetor rebuild. You want to keep track of every nut and bolt that comes out of something, unless you've got a huge stash of them. Sometimes you're going to find parts that are stuck on there. give it a little pressure, comes off. That's your accelerator pump housing. Now we're going to remove the actual accelerator pump itself and the spring. Spring goes in here like that and that. And got a little check ball in there. You got to make sure it's free moving or it will not work. All right, come on. And a little pick is already coming in handy. All right, we're going around. We got a screw missing. We got a replacement screw apparently in this bowl. Nice. So someone else has been into this carburetor, which means we might run into some fun stuff. I apologize in advance for any of the footage that appears choppy. I don't know what happened, but please enjoy either way. And as usual, this base is kind of stuck on here from the years and years it's been on here. So we're just going to put a little pressure between the metering block and the base. Pry it up. There we go. You got 2 locating dowel pins. You do not want to hurt those. Let's see here. Everything on this base seems to be in pretty good shape. Everything just needs to be lubed up real good. Got our base plate gasket. We want to try and match this one up with a replacement. Typically, you go, and I found the best place. I'm not sponsored by them, but it's called All-State Carburetors. And you can get all your nice gasket kits. You can even buy your gaskets in bulk. In fact, all these from All-State Carburetors. And it's honestly, in my opinion, the best place to get carburetor gaskets. You buy them in bulk, you can buy the kits. Don't matter, it's cheaper than anywhere else you're going to find them. We're going to take this bigger screwdriver. We're just going to finish peeling this son of a gun off. Ooh, that's what we like to see. Clean peel. Very little cleanup there. But unfortunately, that means massive cleanup on this side. Wait, maybe this carburetor gasket's gonna come off with ease. Come on, don't leave any residue. Oh, you're leaving residue. Come on, baby, come on.
Well, these quote-unquote non-stick gaskets don't really do what they're supposed to. They kind of stick, but this one's coming off pretty easy, so I think we're gonna get away on this one just fine. Look at that. Little razor blade action. Clean that son of a gun right up.
You just want to have it clean-ish. We're going to do some more cleanup on that. And for all my older viewers, I appreciate everything you guys do, but you know what it's like when you can get the damn thing up. It's a damn little celebration. I shouldn't make those jokes. I've already got a couple white hairs. Believe it or not. Oh, that one came off easy. That's what you want. When the fuel bowl comes immediately off. That's good. When it comes time to remove the metering blocks, I found just a little small screwdriver and another screwdriver uses a hammer. Works just fine. Works perfect. And the last part I do believe we have to remove are our pump shooters. What these do is they shoot the fuel through these little itty bitty orifices. They got numbers on them. That's a 31 for our primary. And we have a 28 for our secondary. Those sound a little small. And inside of here are some check balls, which we are going to try and not lose. All right, we got one coming free. Some people will cringe when they see me clean this carburetor with a wire wheel, but trust me, I am using the lightest touch possible. And here we're trying to find the correct base gasket, but unfortunately, out of all my carb kits, I did not have the correct base gasket. So I ended up having to order a kit, which you'll see here shortly because, well, I had to wait for the kit. So now we're just getting everything clean, and you're gonna see here in a sec how it looks. With just a light hand, I mean, you just barely put any pressure on it, and it'll make your gasket surfaces smooth and clean. Hell, we didn't even get all the gasket off right there in the center. Showed you how, you know, loose a pressure we put on it. The base, of course, will get cleaned with a normal wire brush on a handle more, but there you go. like I said earlier, we were going to clean out all these orifices with brake clean and compressed air, and that's what you can see me doing here, shoving that nozzle in each of them, cleaning them out, then blowing them out, and making sure everything is fully cleaning. Now we're just going to get this float bowl completely taken apart. We're removing the float, being very gentle, not to damage anything. Pretty simple stuff. Hey guys, it's been a minute and I need my hat because the hair's getting long and, well, you know, one of them things. Let me just readjust here and look in the mirror. Yep, we're good. All right, so we've been waiting on parts for quite a while and we finally got them. And I'm going to show you what we got. So we're going to get back to work on this Holley. We're going to finish it up, show you how to assemble it, to get everything put together right, because we finally got our kit from Allstate. And apparently they've gone down in quality because they don't have an Allstate box anymore, but we got our kit right here. I think this was, let me just double check how much it cost. It was $30. Kits have gone up, but it's still cheaper than anybody on eBay. eBay is all about $40. And we got way more gaskets than we need, so good to add those. But I want to show you what we also picked up over the weekend was a new bottom to our toolbox. It's a Craftsman lower from 1976. Our top is actually 1950 to 1964 range because it's got the older Craftsman logo. And got her all decked out with decals, including, I found that one, Phoenix Specialty Coatings, who are doing my original Commando valve covers. And we just went ahead and threw some black on these just to give them more contrast while we wait on those to get perfectly restored. By the way, there's a little spoiler for you, depending on which video comes out first. 273 is now on a stand. So we're gonna get back to work, finish up this Holley, so that way we got a good break-in carburetor. So first things first, gasket kit. We need to get it open. We're just going to use our pick because we lost our knife again after the big garage cleanup, which is pretty normal stuff. You clean the garage and all of a sudden you lose everything you had. All right, we're going to take this here piece of envelope. We're going to set it over here so we can set our gaskets on it nice and clean. For anybody who don't know, it's called your accelerator pump diaphragms. You want them to move very freely. And these do because they're brand new. There they go. Miscellaneous gaskets, mainly for your float bowls. Brand new needle and seats. These are your metering block gaskets. This one's kind of dirty. I don't know if I like that, but oh well. Our two float bowl gaskets, which are kind of stuck together. But there they are. Our power valves, which are 6.5 and 6.5, we only need one of them. So one of these will get to go into the parts bin. A 50cc accelerator diaphragm, let's show you the difference there. Pretty easy to tell the difference. We don't have a 50cc accelerator pump, so we're going to put that away. Don't need it. And what we mainly needed right now were good base gaskets. And we got 3 to choose from, so I'm going to move this over here. Pull it up right there. Oh, we missed a little piece of gasket. Look at that. Now we didn't. All right. We're going to lay that on there. And you can see we are missing a hole. You have bam, bam. Look, there's one right there. It looks like you got all 3 of these holes right here, but these arc around, so that is not the correct base gasket. And we got 2 over here that have the right holes. Alright, so we got bam, 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 bam. And you can always pull it up, and you see on this side we've only got a hole here and a hole here. And those are accounted for. That could be it. Let's grab this one, which is different. Oh, look at that. It don't fit very good. Let's see here, what do we got? This is not the correct gasket. See, it's got this oval hole here. In fact, we are missing a hole altogether right there. This is not the correct one, so we now have narrowed it down. This is our correct base gasket. Everything lines up good. You got throttle bore clearance. Perfect. We have our base gasket. So now we're just going to get this base plate attached. Don't mind me putting the extra screws in. I'm just testing you guys, make sure you're paying attention. There's a little check ball inside this accelerator pump housing. You want to make sure it moves perfectly free, no issues. So I'm going to give you the rundown on assembling one fuel bowl, and then I'm going to speed through and do the other one. After I figure out what happened to all my parts. Oh, there they are. Alright, so we got our old original brass floats, which we're going to give a really good cleanup to. By a really good cleanup, I mean we're going to spray down a rag with some brake cleaner. We're just going to wipe down this thing, get rid of any kind of dust or contamination that could have gotten on it while it was laying around. The other thing to do, if you're reusing any kind of old float or even a new float, stick it in a container of water or gasoline and make sure it still floats, because last thing you want is to put a carburetor back together and for it not to float. At least your float's not to float. Alright, that just slides in there. And when you got big old fingers like I do, this is kind of a pain in the butt, but you make do. And we gotta figure out which screws are which. But all these you do is you just screw them in there. I got my finger holding down this plate because it's spring loaded. I use the other hand to tighten it up. Once that's done, it holds itself down so the float can be a pain in the butt. And it's just one of those things, you kind of got to do it by feel, unless you got really small hands, which I do not. Alright, so our float's in, and it floats. Okay. Next thing is you're going to take your spring, which I've pre-cleaned. That's going to sit right in there. That bad boy's going to go right there. And that bad boy right there. In the midst of all this, Bruce, hand me that 9/16 wrench. Hope you remember that, dude. You actually hear that pump. Okay, you probably can't hear it, but oh well. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this here needle and seat, make sure it's free. It is free. And then we're going to slide it down. Get started. We're just going to use the nut, screw it down. What you're going to do is you're going to hold your float upside down like that, and you're going to wait until the float is level with the world. So I got to look at this, and I'll show you here in a second. I always like to set it just a little bit on the low side. You can always adjust it out later. So it'll look like that, more or less. There you go. That is, oh wait, we're not done yet. We got to put these on. All right, there's that. We're going to put on a gasket. There's a gasket that goes here, then your nut, a gasket that goes, everything falling apart, and then a gasket goes on the inside of the nut, and then you screw it down. And then once you're done, you hold the nut square, and then you take a big old flathead screwdriver and you jam the nut down. Or if you got man paws, you do it by hand, like so. And she's done. Voila. All right, now we're finally advancing. We ran into an issue with our old float bowl. I got everything about ready to put together. And this hole right here has been drilled and tapped bigger, so it's garbage. So I had to go get another float bowl, and luckily I had one more center hung float bowl. Got it cleaned up just right, looks good. So in your kit, it'll come with a whole bunch of gaskets. What you want to do is kind of weed through them, figure out what you need, what you don't need. Inside are two little metal-ish gaskets, and they go behind your float bowl sight plugs because they're brass. And those go exactly right here. And normally, when it comes down to a power valve, get on the engine, pull a vacuum reading, and you find out what your what size power valve you really need. But we're not going to do that. We're going to throw in the standard 6.5 vacuum power valve. We're just going to run it. And if we need to change it, we'll change it later. Maybe we'll do a test on the engine. I don't know. I've never actually messed with that. I've always just left them alone. We're going to take our crescent here, our funky crescent we stole at Dad's toolbox, and get it just a little snug. Give it a little more. There we go. Power valve is done. These are all blowed out, cleaned up. So now we can actually start full-on assembly. So we're going to go ahead and put in our idle air mixture screws. One thing I noticed is they're starting to give you O-rings instead of the cork gaskets, which I ain't so sure about that, but I guess that's what we're going to do. Handy little trick for when installing O-rings, a little bit of lubricant, spit, oil, or something, just so that way they don't get installed dry. Now the trick is you want to run that all the way down, and for your bench setting to make your carburetor run, you're going to go half, 1, half. 1.5 turns out, gives you a decent run. We'll lubricate this O-ring and set it into place with the pick, and once that's all done, we can put in the screw and set our bench setting. Alright, so now that's taken care of, we can start final assembly with the main body and the base. It's all ready to go. What we're going to do is we're going to set this up on its side. What you're going to do, you want to find your main metering block, which will have the power valve in it, and the idle air mixture screws. Unless you have a carburetor with 4-corner idle, this one has 2-corner idle. And we're going to put our gasket on here. Oh, and this metering block has a broken dowel pin, which is amazing, but doesn't surprise me. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to lay it on here, make sure everything's lined up. We're going to gently set that on there. And we're going to pick the prettier of the two float bowls for the front. Which one? Yeah, I was thinking this one too. And then you want to take your gasket, lay it on there, get it pushed down in all the holes so it doesn't get bunched up. Make sure your starter pump arm is up, and set that on there. And I forgot to clean off the gaskets on this one because this is a different float bowl. Alright, and then we're going to take our screws and remove their gaskets as well, so I'll see you in a second. Alright, now that we're back, we're going to get our new, these plastic style gaskets, which I like a lot because they come off and they go on nice and easy. And you're just going to screw these down in a cross bolted pattern. The trick here is not to over tighten these bolts / screws. Just get them snug, and after the engine's been heated up and cooled, you can always retorque them. So once those are all nice and snug, just remember you can always retorque them later. But we're going to get ready to put our accelerator pump shots back together for at least the main carb jet, That's the needle valve for it. Those go in with a little bit of lubrication. Once those are in, you put all the assembly together. Pretty simple stuff. Just make sure you put everything together in the right order. You just lay the gasket down there, take your shooter, orient it right because it's got a notch here, and then your two shooters here and here. And then our gasket. These used to be metal, and now they're fiber. So I guess we're gonna find out how this works. Piece of insight from the future, they worked out just fine. And I found these chrome fuel fitting adapters in my spare parts box, something you definitely benefit from having plenty of spare parts. Got those in, luckily the chrome didn't cause any leaks. And yeah, the carburetor turned out pretty good. Well guys, I hope you really enjoyed this carburetor rebuild. I just wanted to show you guys how easy and simple it is. And yes, this carburetor still looks like poop. You can spend a lot more time cleaning this up, making it look like brand spanking new, to really, you know, if you're gonna resell it or you really want it to look nice, by all means, a brass steel brush, carb cleaner, anything like that will help clean it up. I don't care how it looks, as long as it works. We're gonna probably go stick it on Jezebel, make sure it works right. But as for now, that's just the gist of it. You now got the idea of how to rebuild a Holley carburetor, where to get a kit from cheap. I'm not sponsored by Allstate, but I don't care. If I find a company I believe in and I like, I will happily advertise for free for them. They've supplied me with all my gaskets. I've bought every single one. Always been cheap. They get here when they get here. They don't typically show up super early. I mean, typically 3 to 4 days. Normal stuff when you order parts, but it's here. But there you go. All fresh inside. 650 Holley double pumper. I bought this for I think 125, 150 bucks. I probably said at the beginning of the video that would be the correct number. $30 kit. Now you know what we got in it. There she is, guys. Hope you enjoyed this little instructional video, and hope to see you guys in the next video, which we'll be putting this little carburetor on my 273 and getting it fired up for the first time, and hopefully everything will go right. So hope to see you in the next one, guys. Thanks for watching. Jet Scott signing off. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.